Hello everyone, so today I am here to do my September wrap-up. So the month of September was sort of cray because like college is a thing that started and it was just getting accustomed to being at a new place, meeting new friends. I was out way later than I have ever been before. People are just always around, I have no time for myself, and I got hella freaking sick at the end of the month. And I still am, if you can hear that. I've been like coughing so hard I throw up like constantly. But I managed to read way more than I ever thought I was going to. I read 7 books this month, and I'm in the middle of 3. So, I mean, I feel like that's kind of an accomplishment, if I'm honest. I'm still trying to figure out kind of when and where and how I am going to read at college. But, I mean, 7 books is pretty damn good, in my opinion. So, starting with the first book that I finished this month, I read The Devil of Nonking by Mo Hader. I did an entire review for this book, and I will link that down below. This book was absolutely incredible. I give it a 5 out of 5 stars, and a place on my favorites list. Such an amazing novel. I go into way more detail in my review because this is a very difficult book to explain in a couple of seconds. So just go check out the review if you have any interest in this novel. It is absolutely amazing. The next book I finished was for my sci-fi literature course, and that is The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. I have already read this book, so this was a reread for me, but it was very interesting reading it in a school setting and actually really talking about it and discussing the themes and ideas that are in this book. Obviously I marked a couple things in it, but I really love H.G. Wells. He's one of my favorite authors, and I really have been enjoying this class. So yes, we read this little thing, and if you guys don't know what this is about for some reason, it's about a man who who invents a time machine and travels into the future and meets the Morlocks and Aloy, and then he comes back and tells his story, and this entire book is his little adventure to the future. And obviously I give this a 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was actually honestly a huge disappointment. I could not believe I was giving this anything lower than like a 4 stars, and that is Malachi by Alan Brennert. I got this book and his other book, Honolulu, from my local bookstore, and I was so incredibly excited to read this. It's been at the top of my TBR ever since I got it. I've been wanting to read it. It sounded so good. It's about a girl who gets leprosy, and she's in Hawaii, and she gets sent to one of the leprosy quarantine areas, and then it follows her life afterwards. And I don't know, I was just really disappointed with this because it didn't feel like a novel to me. It felt like a textbook, if I'm completely honest. I didn't really connect to any of the characters. It felt like a really researched book, which I love when books are well researched and everything like that, but I don't want to feel like I'm reading a textbook when I'm reading a novel that I'm reading for pleasure, and I could not connect to any of the characters or what was happening to them or anything like that. The content matter was very interesting, but I just simply could not connect to this book at all or anything that's happening. I'm hoping it's just this one because I really want to try Honolulu because that one sounds even better than this. But I am very disappointed to be saying I gave this a 2 out of 5 stars. Then I decided to pick up a manga just because, like, a bad book and then also I wasn't reading very much means manga. So I picked up Servant Volume 1, which is a book that I got at Anime Boston this past March, and it is about a boy named Shirota who finds this little cat, and the cat turns out to be Sloth, who is a vampire, and the vampires are all the 7 sins, and there's one that is trying to kill all of the other ones. But this was just really cute and really funny. Sloth was pretty cute, so yeah, cute little first volume. Obviously, I feel like all first volumes of manga are kind of confusing, if I'm honest. So this one was a little bit like, oh my god, everything is happening at once, what is going on? So I give it a 3 out of 5 stars, and I definitely will be continuing as the newer volumes come out. The next book I read was also kind of a big disappointment, I guess. Not as big of a disappointment as Malachi, but still a letdown, and that is Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Yeah. Everyone loves this novel. I picked it up. I actually did pick it up during the Diversathon. I mean, I didn't make a TBR wrap-up, but I did read this during the Diversathon. I just got really, bored with it, if I'm completely honest. I think what it was talking about and what it kept bringing up was important, but I also just got incredibly bored. I also just didn't understand the formatting of this book because I think this girl, I can't even remember her name anymore, Efemelu, is literally getting her hair cut for like 350 pages and just keeps flashing back on her entire life. But the flashbacks don't really connect to anything that's happening, and she's not explaining why these flashbacks are happening or why she's thinking about these things. And then it just, I don't know, I just didn't really enjoy it. Didn't love the characters very much. Didn't really care about the like love interest, I guess, of it. And I appreciated all of the like racial things that she brought up, but I also was kind of like, okay, like I get it kind of thing almost. Like, I don't want to say it like that, but like it was just constantly white people suck, white people suck, white people suck, and I'm like, okay, I get it, we suck, okay, man. I get that most of us are very, very ignorant too. I believe she was from Nigeria. Like, most of us, no, we don't know what Nigeria is like, but it was just a constant stream of, like, annoyance at white people and everything, and also towards other black people. This girl just did not seem to like anyone. She was just extremely judgmental, and I was just like, okay, because, like, while she's getting her hair cut, like, the hairdresser, she just keeps judging her, and I was like, okay, and she, like, runs a blog where literally she just talks shit about people, and that kind of, I don't know, not, like, annoyed me, but I was also kind of like, okay, I guess. But, overall, I just, like, I thought the writing was beautiful. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie can write. It was just the story and the characters that I just simply did not like. I liked the conversation it brought, I liked the writing, and I enjoyed all of the new information that I learned, because this is a very informative novel, but I was expecting to absolutely love it like every other person ever, so I was a little bit disappointed to be giving it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I highly recommend it, especially if you want a diverse read, because this is literally the epitome of diverse reading, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. The next book was another amazing novel that I read this month, and that is After Dark by Haruki Murakami. I also have an entire book review on this that will link down below, again, because this is a new, one of my favorite novels. I give it a 5 out of 5 stars, absolutely incredible. I can't really explain it in a couple of sentences, so please just check out my review down below and know that it was so good, and I really highly recommend reading it if you think my review sounds good. And the last book that I read this month was another one from my sci-fi literature course, and that is iRobot by Isaac Asimov. This one we only read a couple of the short stories, chapters out of it, and we focused solely on Robbie, which is the first story that apparently doesn't really connect to any of the other stories in this book, but it followed a robot named Robbie who was programmed to take care of this little girl, and then, I don't know, her mom hates the robot so gets rid of him, and then the little girl keeps going, I want him back, and then the dad, like, brings Robbie back. And I didn't really understand why we were reading it while I was reading it, but then after my discussion I kind of understood, because they kind of represent the argument against technology, because Asimov wrote this during a time where technology was, like, people were very technophobic. And so I understood it after that, but during it I just didn't really enjoy my reading experience that much. It was kind of just like a generic story in my opinion, but then I found out it's like kind of the first of these kind of stories, so I was like, okay, I can appreciate it a little bit more. So for the story Robbie, I'd probably give it like a 4 out of 5 stars, but I gave this entire novel 2 out of 5 stars on Goodreads just because I can't justify giving an entire novel more than that, since we only read a couple of the stories and only analyzed one of them. So, 4 stars for Robbie, but 2 stars for the novel because I didn't read the whole novel. So, these are the 7 novels that I read this month, but I also am in the middle of 3 books. I am currently reading The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula K. Le Guin for my sci-fi literature course. I am also reading a book on my Kindle called Our Demon's Best Friends by, I can't remember who it's by, but I'm trying to read a Kindle book a month. It didn't work that well this month, but I'm in the middle of a Kindle book, and I am also currently reading, as in I put my bookmark in, Midnight's Children by Salman Rushdie, and I'll talk about those more in my TBR video, but yes, these are the 3 books I'm currently in the middle of, and why I haven't finished the book in like a week. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that wrap-up. If you guys have read any of these books, definitely tell me down in the comments below what your thoughts on them were. And also make sure to check out those review videos because I go into a lot more detail in The Devil of Nonking and After Dark in those reviews. And anyways, I love you all and I'll see y'all soon. Bye!